Today I'm going to show you how I decorated this Christmas poinsettia cake. Come join me. So there's actually going to be two cakes that are being decorated here. They're both 6-inch 3-layer vanilla cakes. So I started with the first one, putting some buttercream onto the cake board, and I'm beginning to stack the cake. So crumb coating, I added some buttercream to the cake board, and I added the first layer, added some buttercream, and I'm progressing with crumb coating and stacking the cake. So you can see me doing that here. So after I have a crumb coat on, I am adding an additional layer of icing just to get a little bit more icing, thicker for the customer. And I'm smoothing up the icing. After I had the icing pretty smooth, I realized that I actually did not need to make sure that it was smooth because I'm actually having a textured icing on these cakes. These cakes are for a Christmas giveaway that we're doing at the bakery this Christmas. This is for Nominate a Neighbor project that we're doing for Christmas. So you can see me working here, just kind of covering the top of the cake. I'm not spending a whole lot of time making sure that it's nice and crisp on the top, although I am cleaning off the top edges here. When I add the next layer of icing, the whole purpose of me doing that is really just for me to add the additional layer for the texture. This is the second cake here as I'm adding that second layer of icing to make the icing thicker. So you're going to see me going back and forth between the different cakes here. It's not that, the video is out of order here. So here's where I'm adding that layer so that I can add some texture to the cake. So I'm adding this layer, I'm going to smooth it out a little bit, and then I'm going to add that texture. And I'm going to do that by just kind of dragging the offset spatula around the cake, the whole way up the cake, one ring at a time. So you can see I did the first layer, then I'm going to move up a little bit, wipe off my spatula, then move up a little bit, wipe off my spatula, and so forth up to the top of the cake. The top of the cake, you can see that I have kind of jagged edges, and I'm going to let that like that because I want to paint that in a gold decoration as part of the design element. I apologize if you hear traffic in the background. I am sitting in my car, parked along the side of the road, just kind of doing the voiceover. So I apologize if you can hear that. So as I mentioned, I'm coming to the top and I'm leaving the top of that at the top. So here you can see I am painting that with some gold luster dust as part of the design element. And I'm just dabbing that the whole way along that jagged edge around the cake. So now I'm using some brown icing, and here I'm making a wooden wreath type design on the top, making sure that it's not consistent the whole way around. And now I'm just adding some poinsettias to the top of the cake. So I'm going to do 3 large poinsettias. So I'm doing the red first, and then here I'm adding some green leaves underneath. You can see that I have this sped up. And after I have these poinsettias in, I'm going to add some beads to the center for the center of each of these poinsettias. That's what I'm doing right here. And here I'm adding a strip of fondant to the bottom of the cake, they have a bit of a rigid edge, and that is to kind of mimic that top gold edge that I painted. And I'm also painting this piece of fondant as well, a gold, to kind of match and pull it all together. And once I have that painted so it matches that top piece, I'm also here sprinkling some gold glitter across the top of the cake to, again, kind of pull it all together, just make it sparkle. Now I'm moving to the second cake, and this is going to be the exact same thing. So I'm just smoothing this out a little bit. And again, I'm doing this just so I can get enough icing and use this as a source to provide texture to the design of the cake, and that's what I'm doing right here. So in between each one of these swipes across the cake, I'm just wiping that across into this bowl so that I can get a nice deep divot into the cake. And again, I'm leaving that top jagged edge open and just as part of the design element, and I'm going to paint that with some gold luster dust. But before I do that on this one, I've put that fondant on and I'm painting it gold so that it will match that top gold part that I will do momentarily. And here I am doing that gold luster dust along the top of the cake as well. And again, I'm using the brown icing to do that wooden wreath on the top of the cake, making sure it's not in the same path along the top of the cake each time. And I'm adding now those same 3 poinsettias onto the top of this cake. And again, I have it sped up. And I'm going to add those beads into the center of each one of these poinsettias also. And just like on the last cake, I'm going to sprinkle that gold glitter over the top of this cake. Here I'm just manipulating, moving some of those beads to the appropriate place. Here's that gold glitter I just mentioned. Here I am using some brown fondant, and I'm cutting those to make them into some pine cones that I'm going to put 2 onto the top and 2 onto the front of each one of the cakes. I'm putting a toothpick into the bottom of the 2 that are going to go into the top of the cake, and then I'm going to use some piping gel and some buttercream to put them onto the front of the cake at the cake board. So now that those pine cones are done, you can see me here putting them onto the cake. I'm using a skewer to poke down into the cake where I'm going to put the pine cones into the cake. And using some buttercream then to secure them onto the front of the cake board. And adding glitter over the top of those pine cones as well so they match the rest of the cake. And with that, that is completing the cake, and this is what they look like completed. You can see me doing a little bit of a spin. You can see those pine cones on the front, and here you can see the poinsettias on the top of the cake. This is what the cake looks like completed, both of them, what they both look like. And that completes the entirety of the cake. And thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed watching this video, me making these cakes, I encourage you to like, comment, and share. And I would love if you would subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any future content. Thank you again for joining me as I walk through this video. I do appreciate you joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you again for coming to watch this video. Have a great day and a very Merry Christmas.